believe that Try is finally here. You know, we've waited for this for over a year now, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved every single minute of it. But let's dive into why, shall we? First of all, it's still surreal to me to even think that this series that so many of us grew up with is now being given this new, modern, sleek update. I can't believe sometimes that the interest for this show was so high that they were able to take these characters that are now 15 years old and give them a new story. It's so strange and so surreal, but I love it. I absolutely love it. So let's talk about that new style. I love the new style. It was a little jarring the first time I saw it in the first promotional image, especially with the same face going on with Sora and Kari, but actually seeing it in action is amazing, and it looks beautiful. Oh, this animation is so gorgeous. And you know, Digimon was always a very cheap show, and they compensated for that in their own ways. And I always said, you know, the cheapness of the animation didn't really matter because the story and the writing were so strong. But it's still nice to see this great. It's still nice to see these characters in this beautiful animation. They just look so amazing, and it does make a difference when you have the higher budget animation. They look gorgeous. The fight scenes in particular look amazing. That was always one thing where unfortunately the lower budget was a bit of a problem in the original show. Was the fight scenes were always kind of weak. I especially love the Bergermon's new look. She actually looks like a bird that is on fire, as opposed to, you know, the original design with all the line art, with heavy line art was kind of clunky. And her attack, the meteor wing, looks like actual meteors. I got so excited when I saw that. I guess I was disappointed. We got to see all the champions in the new Digivolution sequence, and the new Digivolution sequence was so cool. I loved the thing with the Digivice and all the white space. Seems to be feeding into the story that they're doing with this. In the beginning, there was this egg, and we don't quite know what that's all about yet. But the new Digivolution sequence kind of reminded me of our war game when they go into the internet and there's all this white space. So I like the cyberspace aspect of the new Digivolution sequence, and I think that's going to tie into a lot of the themes that we're going to be seeing in this new movie series. Again, with the opening sequence about whatever this mysterious egg is, and with the 02 kids, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. I'm not sure what I think about the egg. Like the sphere forming around each of the characters, and then the champion form popping out. That was a little strange, but other than that, the new evolution sequence was a lot of fun. And I loved seeing all the Digimon in the new style. I'm very disappointed that we didn't get to see Ikakumon, but you know, I'll talk about that in a little bit. One of the things that struck me the most right away was just seeing all of these characters. Every time a new character was introduced, it hit me right in childhood, you know? It's like, oh, there he is, or there she is, and man, they wasted no time diving right into the love triangle nonsense, did they? Like, the tension between Tai, Matt, and Sora is right under the surface, and right away we're seeing them fighting over her, and there's all this tension there, and I feel like they played up the love triangle a little more than I would have liked. And it wasn't even a big part of the story, but it was still in there a lot more than I would have wanted to see it. That said, some of the conflicts between Tai and Matt doesn't even seem to be about Sora. They just seem to have their butting heads, which, you know, is what they do best. It wouldn't be Digimon without Tai and Matt at each other's throats. And I just loved seeing them in that high school setting where they're at the cafeteria and they're teasing each other over their lunch, and I loved it. It's, you know, speaking of the high school, we get Kari bringing Tai his lunch, and she said something like, "You owe me a cafe treat" or something, and there was this shot of this gorgeous, like, I don't even remember what it was, but it was this beautifully rendered piece of food, and I just thought that is so typical of modern anime. I don't know what it is about anime and their beautiful, beautiful food, but I'm sure you've seen the Tumblr post where it's like food porn and all these gifs of these amazing looking food. And oddly enough, that was one of the biggest things that made me realize we're in 2015 and this is what anime looks like nowadays. And it's so amazing to get a new Digimon adventure story, you know, in this day and age. It just, I love it. I love it. Anyway, back to the characters. Sora kind of disappointed me, honestly. When she's running around getting ready to go to... First of all, I thought it was very typical of her character to want to accommodate Ty and Matt, not out of any romantic obligation, but just as her friends, she doesn't want to let either of them down. So it was nice that she was trying to figure out how to get to both of them. But she seemed a little flighty in that whole scene where she's trying to get ready. Like, oh, she sees the clocks glitch out. She's like, oh, that's a good sign. Or is it? And she's like, oh, where's my phone? Or, oh, here it is. It was a little more ditzy than I would have expected her character. You know, it was a little more like what I might expect from Mimi. And Sora was always, you know, Mimi's opposite. She was the tomboy. And it kind of disappointed me. Sora is, looking back over the show, Sora's probably one of the weaker characters, actually. She had very little personality to be mined from. She was the tomboy, basically, and, you know, no matter what you think of Mimi, ultimately, Mimi had more personality, even if it was bad, although much of that came from the English dub. And she's probably the character that I'm most nervous about for this new story, especially being the love interest, object of affection. And I hope that she's not just relegated to the prize that Matt and Ty are fighting over. What I am hoping is that we're going to see a build-up towards Matt and Sora's relationship and why Sora ultimately chose Matt over Ty. I would really like to see that. There was a lot of potential for shippers in this show. Of course, there was the love triangle. There was a lot of stuff with Mimi and both Izzy and Joe. You know, I'm diehard Mimi Joe shipper, so I got all excited when, you know, Mimi throws her arms around Joe, and she's the most excited to see him, and of course she seems all surprised when he reveals that he has a girlfriend. I wasn't expecting that either. But you know, my girlfriend even mentioned that, you know, Mimi and Izzy are the kinds of characters that you can really pair them up with anybody else within the show, and they're pretty compatible with most of the other characters. Which, yeah, I would agree with. I'm still on the Mimi Joe end, but if we're talking about shipping, which I'm hoping that, you know, romance was never the core issue of Digimon, and I hope they don't lose themselves in teen high school drama, which I'm sure they won't, but I'm hoping they don't. Izzy, speaking of Izzy, I loved seeing Izzy again. He was so adorable. I love the scene where they have the meeting under the bridge. First of all, that was so old times where they get together and discuss what's going on. I loved that scene. But, you know, one of my favorite parts was that in the middle of Izzy's explanation, Matt and Ty just start talking about other things, and Izzy just keeps going. Even though everyone else is talking about something else, he just barrels right through his explanation, and he does not stop, and I loved that. And, you know, I enjoyed the fact that Matt and Ty are once again at odds with each other, because it's just what they do. It was so in Matt's character for him to split off from the group at that point, because that's what he does. He's a lone wolf, and when he believes something that no one else is supporting, he's going to take a step back from the group. So I loved that. There was, oh, just going back to shipping real quick, of course, there was that brief interlude with TK and Kari, Kari is seeming a little disappointed that TK is asking a girl to his brother's concert, and I don't know. It still disappoints me, as I'm sure, a lot that they didn't end up married, but let's just leave that alone. We don't need to do much more with TK and Kari do. Although TK, he's like a player, isn't he? He calls, when Matt's concert gets canceled, he called 2 girls to tell them that it's been canceled. Although, and what is up with him and his neck beard fedora and that scarf? He's such a hipster. And oh, TK, what's happening to you? But there were some really cute moments with Matt and TK, some really adorable brother moments there. Oh my gosh, and what is up with the name of Matt's band changing to Knife Day? It was just another one of those things that really made me realize, we're definitely in 2015, because there's no way a cheesy name like Teenage Wolves that would never fly in a modern anime. One thing I was a little disappointed in was that Mimi and Palmon didn't cry when they were reunited. I know it's a small thing, but it's kind of a tradition or a running joke in the franchise that anytime Mimi and Palmon are reunited from any period of time, they cry. It's a cute thing that I've loved to see in the show, and it's so them, and I wish that they could have worked that in somehow. I don't think it would have fit with the tone and the pacing that they were going for, but I wish they could have found some way to make it work. I don't know. I wish they could have kept it going. But I love Mimi, and I just loved what they did with her character so far. So in keeping with what we've seen of her character in the past, and this spoiled but also sweet character. And I love that she brought American gummy bears or gummies for everyone to snack on, and it's just another cute thing of the Digimon loving the human world and human stuff and that whatnot. I loved the hack that Izzy came up with, that they can, jump into this safe digital space that he created for the Digimon, and they can access any device that they want to, and so they can, be in this safe digital space, so they're not running around the city causing panic or havoc, and then they can also be there for the kids whenever the kids need them, and that actually will lead me into 2 points in a minute. But I loved Izzy has always been the MVP of the team. He's being that he's a computer nerd and this is a world of living data, he's always been the one with all the answers, and I love that for this new story he's once again the one to be solving the problems that everybody needs, and this one I thought was a really clever solution, and I'm eager to see what kind of fun things they're going to do with it. I thought it was a great effect in the animation to have the Digimon appear on what looks to be a flat screen and then pop out into the real world. It's all 2D animation, but to achieve that 2D to 3D effect I thought was really well done. So anyway, this new hack that Izzy has come up with. Shoot, now I've completely forgotten the 2 points that I wanted to make. The first one was the real world effects. One of the things that has bothered me about the Adventure series is the inconsistency with how much humans remember about the digital world. It was, at the end of Adventure, it was pretty clear that the digital world had appeared in the sky throughout the real world. The sloppy explanation they gave at the end of 02 that, Genai had wiped everybody's memories to keep the government out of the digital world was, it's unsatisfying, and it's not even consistent with what we see in the show. So I don't know. I don't know what would be better, if they tried to write an explanation for that or if they just tried to write around it, because I could buy that people would, I could buy that a lot of people would try to say that it didn't happen. Especially in other countries where the Digidestined weren't that much of a thing. I could definitely see people trying to pass it off as some kind of weird phenomenon, but especially in Japan, and especially in Odaiba and the Heightened View Terrace areas, I can buy it a lot less that people would, not remember all these events. And I can't remember. I know that when the monsters started appearing, and I thought it was a nice touch that Kari was the one who noticed the weird stuff first on the TV. When the monsters started appearing, I can't remember. Did they eventually start calling them Digimon? I think they did, and it's really interesting to me because they started out calling them monsters, and I want to be like, do you not remember? But I'm pretty sure they switched to Digimon after a while, and I thought that was odd. Also odd that there is this secret organization of people now who are ordinary humans but are researching the digital world or looking for ways to protect it. Like they obviously have files on all the Digidestined, and the 02 kids are, missing or what have you. It's obviously shrouded in mystery at this point, and I'm hoping that they don't leave it like that. I'm sure we'll see more and learn more as the series goes on, especially with that new character being revealed right in the trailer. It's just an odd thing to me that this is like Tamer's stuff with sci-fi and the government organization. That said, the organization seems to be very much good guys. Like, they're clearly on the side of the Digidestined and want to help them. So I'm just very eager to learn more about how they came together and what they are and who they are. Although the introduction of that man in the chair has me concerned, because it's a storytelling trope that hiding a person's face conveys untrustworthiness, and the fact that his introduction was some guy in the shadows that is giving instructions that we can't hear, it bothered me. So I'm sure that we'll find everything out in due time.